Hi, this is Michael Rubin, and so far everything that we've been doing I consider to be intermediate harmonica work so that pretty much any intermediate harmonica player can use this stuff fairly quickly. Now we're going to head into more advanced territory. What we just did, we looked at the C major scale, and we said that there were 7 modes of the C major scale, and 4 of them are useful to pop music. By pop music, I mean anything but jazz and classical. We said that the Ionian scale, the Dorian scale, the Mixolydian scale, and the Aeolian scale are useful. So what we did, we played in different positions, but used the same notes from the C major scale. Pretty easy to do. Now we're going to take it one step further, because one of the easiest things you can do on a C harmonica is to play in the key of G, second position. Well, the G major scale has 7 modes as well, and the Ionian, Dorian, Mixolydian, and Aeolian modes from the G major scale are useful scales as well. So first let's look at the G major scale on a C harmonica. Here's the layout. Remember the way I do it, even though G is the lowest note on the scale, it is not the lowest note on the harmonica that can be found within the scale. One blow is C, and there is a C in the G major scale, so that's where I start writing it down. Now, if I were to play this scale, I would start on G, because G is the do note. So to make it sound like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I want to start on G. Now, let's think about what notes are on the harmonica looking at this scale. All of the blow notes are on the harmonica. All of the blow notes on the harmonica are in this scale. Now you may say, well, I don't see 3 blow. 3 blow is the same note as 2 draw. They're both the note G. Is there a G note in the G major scale? Well, yes, there is. So 3 blow is an okay note to play as well. So you can play any blow note, and you're going to sound good. Now for the draw notes, without bending, we're missing some notes. 5 draw and 9 draw are missing. What is the name of the note in 5 draw and 9 draw? F. Is there an F in the G major scale? No, there is an F sharp. Therefore, when doing this exercise, you want to avoid 5 draw and 9 draw. And if you're a blues player and you're used to playing 2 double bend, that's an F as well. Don't hit 2 double bend. So, other than that, you can play any draw note without bending. Now the bends are slightly complicated. 2 single bend, 3 double bend, both tough bends. 9 single bend, 10 single bend, very tough bends. And 5 over blow, real tough. So, maybe you've got these bends and overblows together, maybe you don't. However, you do not have to play any of these notes if you don't want to. An improvisation is creating your own melody. Nobody is saying you have to play 5 overblow F sharp to play in the key of G. So, if you want to avoid that note, go ahead and avoid it. If you want to challenge yourself and hit those notes, go ahead and challenge yourself. It's not necessary to play in the key of G major to hit an F sharp in the middle register. However, if you were playing a specific melody and that melody called for an F sharp, then you'd have to come up with some kind of way to play it, either do the 5 overblow or an alternative way. Now this doesn't mean you can't play any of the other notes on the harmonica, like 4 bend. Lots of harmonica players like to play 4 bend. Okay? But 4 bend is the note C sharp. It is not a note in this scale. When you play 4 bend, you are taking a risk. You may like it, you may not like it, but it is not a note in the G major scale, nor is it a note in one of the modes of the G major scale. Okay? So if you want to be strict so you understand what these modes sound like, you have to avoid notes that are not in the G major scale. So, playing where the root note of the G major scale is G is the first mode of the G major scale, and the first mode is called Ionian. It's also known as G major, but Ionian is the mode name. So we're going to play G Ionian by playing in the key of G major using the notes from the G major scale, but we're doing it on a C harp. So since the key of G is second position on a C harp, what we're doing is second position Ionian. And I'm going to set up my rhythm section to play. Actually, it's set up. Just a little bit of change. Yes, okay. And I got my C harp, and here I go. Right at the end, I hit a 5 draw. So, here's a G harp. Second position on a G harp is the key of D. If I move my mouth the same way and I told the band to play in the key of D, I would be playing second position Ionian on a G harp, and the key would be D. So both harps right at the end, a little bit of trouble. Okay, so let me turn off this speaker here, take another sip of coffee. In the C major scale, when we used the modes, we started on the first mode, the C note, and that was the Ionian mode. But when we started on the second note, D, that was the Dorian mode. Now the fact that the key was D and the first letter in Dorian is a D is coincidental. Basically, Dorian means taking a major scale and starting on the second note from that scale, but playing all the notes from that scale. So in the key of G, the second note is A. So if I started and ended on A, but used the notes from the G major scale, I would be playing the A Dorian scale, and the notes would be A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. I always want to end on the same note I started on. So, we know where these notes are. We just played it. All of the blow notes without bending, all of the draw notes without bending except for 5 draw and 9 draw, 2 single bend, 3 double bend, 9 single bend, 10 single bend, and 5 over draw, or overblow, 5 overblow. So, the difference is you're in the key of A. So you may want to return to your A note every now and then and let people know, I know what key I'm in. 3 double bend, 6 draw, 10 draw. In this situation, you are playing in the key of A Dorian on a C harmonica. Playing in the key of A on a C harmonica is fourth position, because if you looked at the circle of fifths and you put your finger on C and began to count as you move clockwise, C would be 1, G would be 2, D would be 3, and A would be 4. So even though we're using the second position major scale, the G major scale, we're in the key of A, and therefore the key of A is always fourth position on a C harmonica. So you might have heard that fourth position is good for using the natural minor scale or the Aeolian scale, and it is good, but it's also good for the A Dorian scale. Now, in order for this to work, you have to tell the band, play in the key of A. And you have to consider what style of music Dorian creates. What feeling does Dorian create? Dorian creates two feelings. Number one, a sad feeling or a minor feeling. So in order for this to work, you don't just tell the band to play in the key of A. You have to tell them, play in A minor. Then Dorian creates a bluesy feeling. It doesn't have to be a minor blues. It could be a major blues. So in order for this to work, you could say to the band, play a blues in the key of A. Could be a minor blues in the key of A. Doesn't have to be. So, give me a second. I'm going to change my rhythm tracks to a minor in the key of A. And almost there, almost there. There we have it. I got my C harmonica. Fourth position Dorian using the G major scale. Now, if I had my G harmonica, fourth position on a G harmonica, I'd look at the circle of fifths, start counting on G, G, D, A, E, 1, 2, 3, 4. I play my harmonica the same way, but I tell the band to play a song in the key of E minor, and this is what I get. Then, remember, the Dorian has two flavors. It also has a bluesy flavor. So I'm going to tell my band to play a blues in the key. I'm going to get my C harp. I'm going to tell them to play in the key of A. And I'm using the A Dorian scale, which is the same notes as the G major scale. But I'm on a C harp, so I'm in fourth position because I'm in the key of A. So blues in A on a C harp. G harp. Fourth position is the key of E. Move my mouth in the same way. Play a blues in the key of E in fourth position on my G harp. So what I'm noticing is that a lot of times by the end of the progression, if I'm doing a lot of overblows, my harp is kind of not following through by the end of the progression. So I'm going to start investing in some nicer harps. It's tough, you know, coming up with the money. But here comes Christmas or Hanukkah. So let's see. Okay. Next time we're going to work on the Mixolydian scale using the cross harp major scale as our bass scale, and then I'm going to do the same with Aeolian. Okay, see you soon.